I just lost two of my homeboy. Forever be get back gone. We might finally have the person responsible for the two homeboys EBG was talking about. New footage just surfaced online and fans are convinced Pushy was caught on camera killing EBG Jizzle's homie right after getting released. Now with E Jizzle calling for revenge, it is starting to look like Pushy might have been safer behind bars. Let me break it down. The lick that started all the smoke. Memphis is in flames right now. A grainy 37-second video filmed in what looks like a dimly lit parking lot off Airways Boulevard has exploded across social media. It allegedly shows Pooh Shiesty himself fresh out of federal custody firing at a car belonging to one of EBG ISIL's closest homies. Within hours, Pooh Shiesty and Get Back Gang were trending worldwide, and with E Jizzle already vowing revenge, fans are asking the one question nobody wants to say out loud. Did she really come home just to catch another body? The clip is brutal. A black Dodge Charger pulls up. Voices shout. Then 6 flashes echoing through the night. One man collapses near the hood. If true, this means Shiesty's alleged first move after walking out of prison was taking out EBG's right-hand soldier. A move that could ignite Memphis all over again. And here's where it gets even darker. According to local Memphis insiders and pages like Rap Alert, the location the viral clip matches the same area EBG members frequent. You can even hear someone in the background yell, "EBG out here," right before shots ring out, whether or not it's authentic. The perception is what matters. And in street culture, perception can kill faster than bullets. Now, remember, Pushiest was just released earlier this month after serving a reduced federal sentence for conspiracy to possess firearms in furtherance of crimes of violence. His early release surprised many. Some fans celebrated his return. Others warned that old demons were waiting for him. Even Charleston White himself in an interview predicted something like this. Now, Pooh Shiesty Josh, my boy, them Pooh Shiesty babies, now they're gonna be something. We gotta do something with the mother. I ain't bull the mother destroy America. They the grim. And now it feels prophetic. He was supposed to be rebuilding, reconnecting with Gucci Mayonnaise 1017 and planning an album book combo for his comeback. But if this footage is real, that comeback might have just turned into a countdown. But one fact is clear. Memphis hasn't been this tense since Dolph's murder. Street corners that used to bump Shiesty's music are now silent. Murals are being defaced, and whispers of retaliation are everywhere. Because here's the thing, this isn't just a random feud between rappers. It's personal, historical, and layered. Before Pooh Shiesty ever hit Billboard charts before Back in Blood blew up, before Gucci Mane signed him to 1017, this rivalry had already claimed lives and reputations on both sides. To understand the chaos we're watching unfold, we have to rewind to the lick that started all the smoke. It started from a burglary. According to EBG Jizzle's own account, someone broke into a house and stole some items, and the perpetrators tried to make it seem like they had robbed someone significant or done something noteworthy. Broke in a house and stole some. You stole and really tried to put like they extorted some, but they really did some junk. Doing when you were 14, 15, breaking your house, blushing windows at it. In Eel's eyes, this was juvenile behavior, the kind of petty crime that teenagers engage in, nothing worth, bragging about, or turning into a street reputation. But when the other side started rapping about it and portraying it as something more significant than it actually was, that's when things started to escalate beyond simple street politics. The situation intensified dramatically when Pooh Shiesty released his breakout collaboration with Lil Durk Back in Blood. But for EBG Jizzle, the song wasn't just another Memphis banger climbing the charts. It was personal. The song, yeah, you could tell it was I took it as a dish, but it just the reason what made me respond because it was just false as hell. Like it just was a whole bunch of make-believe and exaggerated situation. So that just made me respond. The way Jizzle saw it. Pooh Shiesty and his team were taking creative liberties with the truth, exaggerating situations, and essentially building their reputation on fabrications. What bothered E Jizzle most wasn't just that he felt Pooh Shiesty was capping his music, but that he was glorifying situations that never happened the way they were, being portrayed. I was just like, man, I just like this, I just hate capping ass. The tension reached another critical point when EBG Gizzle was shot, an incident that would become the subject of intense speculation, misinformation, and street rumors that spread like wildfire through Memphis and beyond. The circumstances surrounding the shooting were complex and rooted in domestic drama rather than the beef with Pooh Shiesty. But that didn't stop people from trying to connect it to the ongoing conflict. The actual shooting happened when Isel found himself caught in the middle of someone else's domestic dispute. So I guess the whole thing been into it, with her and all day with her boyfriend, all day. So bam, as I'm rolling up, he busts in the room, and get the like, he beating the just, I'm like, damn, what did I got going? Jizzle didn't want to get involved. So he decided to leave, and that's when all hell broke loose. I'm getting my leaving. So as I'm getting my leaving, I guess he took that in his head that I'm have to kill him or pop him or shoot him about his female. So bam, as I'm walking, I get my off the bed. He take off running out the room. When he take off running out the room, he shoot all through the walls. And what made matters worse was when false information began circulating about the extent of his injuries. So I just was thinking too hard on the only thing that made me mad, like when I weren't even on the internet when I got shot, like, but soon I load on everybody, like, go check Instagram. I see mother on the ground, capping like me, like just really just clout chasing type. Underscore thunderscore. So that was just made me realize that a lot of these being these for attention or for the M people were claiming credit for something they didn't do, exaggerating his injuries and trying to build their own reputations off his misfortune. Then came the most controversial claim, one that would further deepen the animosity between EBG Gizzle and Pooh Shiesty. Right, I believe Pooh Shiesty posted something like, damn, that he and now he can't even walk. Yeah, you know, something like that. According to Isel, Pius contributed to spreading the false narrative that he was paralyzed even though Shiesty had nothing to do with the actual shooting. Yeah, he had to do with nothing. You know what I'm saying? He got a lot of yeah. He ain't had nothing to do with nothing, but get back on. The beef escalated further when both camps began to experience real-world consequences that went beyond social media posts and diss tracks. For EBG Gizzle, the conflict with someone as high-profile as Pooh Shiesty began affecting his business opportunities in ways he hadn't anticipated. I just feel like people scared the underscore with me because who I don't with. You know what I'm saying? The reality was that being at odds with a 1017 Records artist signed to Atlantic Records and backed by Gucci Mane came with serious industry implications. There were concrete examples of opportunities that fell through, specifically because of the beef. I think it was signed. Ain't going to say nothing. It was a record label, though. They were going to sign me like we had met with each other, did a whole lot, did like go in the studio and all this. Then they hit my little brother, which my little brother, my manager, they hit them up like they ain't want to lose their relationship with other artists. So they wanted me type. The label had made their choice, and it wasn't in Isel's favor. Throughout all of this, the personal nature of the beef was evident in the way both sides approached it. For Isel, this wasn't just about music or money. It was about respect, truth, and the codes of the street. Like, it's like I never did, but like where we come from like this to the grave, like hell no, we don't forget. This statement made it clear that from EJ Gizzle's perspective, this conflict wasn't something that could be easily resolved with an apology or a sit-down meeting. The disrespect ran too deep, and in the streets where they both came from, certain things couldn't be forgiven or forgotten without consequences. But as the smoke from that burglary settled, what came next wasn't just rap drama. It was real charges, shootouts, betrayals, and a new generation of Memphis rappers trying to survive a city that eats its own blood charges and street codes. To truly understand the way of this beef and why it carries such gravity, we need to examine the criminal histories, the cases they've beaten, the time they've served, and the street credibility that both EBG Gizzle and Pooh Shiesty have built through their actions, not just their words. This is where the line between rap persona and real life becomes dangerously blurred, and where the consequences become life-altering. EBG Isel's involvement in street life began early, far earlier than most people realize. His first major brush with the law came when he was still practically a child. Man, I think it was attempted murder, but they dropped the assault. I had end up getting 1 and 2 of one of my family member. Matter of fact, I got a tour of one of my family members and then just went the wrong way and I end up catching a little attempted murder charge. I ain't just gonna speak on it because with I underscore with my uncle now. At just 13 years old, Ejizel was facing an attempted murder charge stemming from an altercation with family members, a charge that would eventually be reduced to assault. The pattern of criminal behavior only escalated from there, eventually leading to something far more serious than his initial attempted murder charge. At 16 years old, EBG was sentenced to juvenile life, which in the Tennessee system means incarceration until age 19. Though good behavior can lead to earlier release, what made the situation particularly painful for Ejizel wasn't just the sentence itself, but who was responsible for him receiving it. And plus the plus, my best friend at the time, he ended up snitching on me. Yeah, he ended up telling your best friend snitches on you during this case, and then it leads to you getting juvenile life. Hell yeah, being betrayed by someone he considered his closest friend added an extra layer of trauma to an already difficult situation and taught him harsh lessons about trust and loyalty that would shape how he moved through the streets for the rest of his life. After serving his time and being released, Ejizel faced another major legal challenge that would determine whether he'd spend the majority of his adult life in prison. In 2020, before his rap career had really taken off, he was arrested on a murder charge, facing potentially 15 to 25 years in prison. 2015 to 25 years. My first offer was 17 years. The prosecution's initial plea deal would have essentially taken away the rest of his youth and prime adult years. The circumstances of that murder case and how he beat it reveal the complexities of street violence and the Memphis justice system. The case against him was built primarily on witness testimony. But I really knew I ain't even he was just, they were going off some he say, she say, you see what I'm saying? So they just going by what to say. So somebody told them something, but when it was time to come to court and trial and he didn't want to take the stand to testify. And when it came time for trial, the key witness refused to take the stand, resulting in the charges being dropped. Now, turning our attention to Pooh Shiesty, his legal troubles reached a different level of seriousness when he was arrested for shooting at King of Diamonds, a popular Miami strip club. And Pooh Shiesty was arrested for a shooting at King of Diamonds. Now, he has been accused of shooting a security guard there. We don't know what happened, but they said a crowd jumped in trying to grab some loose cash because somebody knocked money out of his back pocket. And that's when reportedly they are saying that he brandished a gun as he was being escorted out by the security guard. The incident allegedly resulted in the security guard being shot in the ankle, though witnesses reported seeing Pooh pass the gun to someone else who fled the scene. The King of Diamonds case was just the beginning of Pooh Shiesty's federal legal troubles. I hope that's not true. Because, there was no gun or shell casings found at the scene. While the physical evidence from this particular incident was limited, it was part of a larger pattern of behavior that would eventually catch up with him in a much bigger way. The federal case against Pooh Shiesty became serious enough that it threatened to end his career and freedom for potentially the rest of his life. But Pooh Shiesty has pleaded guilty to 1 charge in his federal case. That means he's no longer facing a possible life sentence. So this resulted in prosecutors agreeing to suggest no more than a 97-month prison sentence. The plea deal he ultimately accepted called for just over 8 years in prison, though the judge had discretion to sentence him to up to 20 years. The specific charge that Pooh Shiesty pleaded guilty to a conspiracy to possess a firearm in furtherance of violent and drug trafficking crimes, a serious federal offense that carries substantial mandatory minimum sentences. So that 1 charge that he is pleading guilty for his conspiracy to possess a firearm in furtherance of violent and drug trafficking crimes. By taking the plea deal, he avoided the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison, but he still faced nearly a decade behind bars at a crucial point in his career. But for both of these artists, the streets were just one side of the story. Behind the charges and the shootouts, there were dreams, real dreams, of taking Memphis to the world stage, from the trenches to the charts. While the streets and criminal cases form one side of the story, the musical achievements and industry impact of both Pooh Shiesty and EBG Ejizel tell another equally important narrative. Understanding how these two artists built their careers, the obstacles they faced, the success they achieved, and the influence they wielded reveals why their conflict resonates far beyond Memphis, and why their music continues to matter, even when one artist is behind bars and the other faces industry blackballing. Pooh Shiest's journey to stardom began with a combination of independent hustle and eventually getting noticed by one of the biggest names in rap. Born Lantrell Donald Williams Jr. on November 8, 1999 in Memphis, Tennessee, he grew up in the Cane Creek apartments on the south side of Memphis and spent 2 years in Pflugerville, Texas before returning to Memphis to complete high school through summer school. He began focusing on music at age 18, initially working independently by creating and posting his own videos on YouTube, which amassed millions of views before he ever had major label backing. The origin of his stage name combines personal history with street credibility. I was in the womb. I was still in the belly. He rubbed Mr. Pooh, and it went from their whole neighborhood. Mr. Pooh for my family everywhere. The Pooh part came from his childhood when he was still in his mother's womb, and she was calling him Mr. Pooh, a name that stuck with him throughout his neighborhood and family. The Shiesty part was added later, reflecting the street lifestyle and the perception that he wasn't someone who could be easily trusted or crossed, creating the perfect name for his brand of menacing Memphis street rap. Pooh Shiesty's career officially kicked off in 2019 with his commercial debut Hell Night featuring fellow Memphis rapper Big 30, released on March 15, 2019 with its music video dropping on February 19, 2020. The track garnered over 6 million views, establishing him as an artist to watch. Throughout 2019, he maintained consistent output with releases like Shiesty Summer on August 20th, 2019, Choa Talk with Big 30 on August 23rd, 2019, and Day One on November 25th, 2019, building a loyal following in Memphis and beyond through his raw, aggressive style and authentic street narratives. The turning point in Pooh Shiest's career came in a way that sounds almost too good to be true, but is absolutely real, man. Me in the bed, man. Middle of the night, one day, he texted me on Instagram. Did you believe it, or did you think it was a lie? I couldn't believe this. __. How old were you then? 'Cause you're only 29 now, right? Yeah, I'm 21 now. I'm 20. Okay. Oh, that's last year. Yeah. So, you just sent you a DM. Yeah. He texted me. He said, "What's up, homie?" I grabbed my phone. Get up. Gucci Mane, one of the most influential figures in trap music, reached out personally via Instagram DM after discovering Pooh Shiest's music, specifically mentioning the track Main Slime as what caught his attention. The conversation between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane that night would change everything. He said, "Did my number FDM me?" I FaceTime him right there. We was on FaceTime for like 6 hours, bro. It was already like 3 o'clock in the morning, though. A 6-hour FaceTime conversation in the middle of the night with both artists, still virtually strangers, demonstrates the genuine connection and chemistry that Gucci saw in Pooh Shiesty. This wasn't just a business decision. This was Gucci recognizing something special and being willing to invest time and energy into developing it. Immediately, the signing to 1017 Records, an imprint of Atlantic Records, came in April 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, which meant that much of the initial deal was handled remotely. We flew to Atlanta. Yep, but it was like I got signed during COVID, so everything locked down and shut down and everything over the phone. The difficulty of keeping such massive news secret for even a week shows the excitement and impatience of a young artist finally getting his big break. Now turning to EBG Jizzle, his path to music was quite different from Pooh Shiest's calculated rise. Born Eric Gills Jr., he hails from Memphis, Tennessee, and his stage name carries deep personal significance. Yeah, we named this after my little brother Ebel. He died in 2015. It was a car accident. He hit when he was driving a moped and underscore ain't try to do it. It was accident. So we put the gang under him. Underscore we started eat when he died, and we just been pushing it since. EBG stands for Everybody Bleeds Gorilla. But more importantly, the gang and movement was named after his little brother who died in 2015, making the name a constant reminder of loss and the motivation behind everything he does in music and in the streets. EBG Jizzle's approach to rap was initially more casual, something he did on the side rather than viewing it as a potential career. Like when he passed and stuff like that, like that's when you picked up the rap, or you know what I'm saying, it kind of took some time for it. Like, no, I want to say like I have been like, you remember like, you know how we just underscore around like raps and just make me take it serious. I started taking rap like a year ago. I said his brother's death didn't immediately push him into rap. Rather, it took time for him to realize that music could be a vehicle for expressing his pain, telling his story, and potentially creating a better life for himself and his crew. The breakout moment for EBG Isel came with his track Rumors, which was actually created before the Back in Blood controversy, but was released after. I had been made to sound like a year before I dropped the type. The song had been sitting on his phone, being played for people on the block and in his circle, receiving positive feedback long before it was officially released, showing that he had the talent all along. He just needed the right moment and motivation to take music seriously as a career path. His approach to making music is notably different from many modern rappers who craft every bar with precision and spend hours perfecting verses. See, you know me, I just put my life on beat type. Like I just be like real deal going and writing about underscore that really occurring like what I'm doing type of or what I'm seeing. This raw, unfiltered approach contributes to the authentic feeling of his music. Listeners can tell that he's not manufacturing a persona, but rather documenting his actual life experiences, making his music hit harder for those who connect with that reality. When Rumors was finally released, the response exceeded his wildest expectations. I knew the song going 4i on my story, and everybody used to be just like going crazy about the song like, send me this song hard. But I ain't never think it'll be at like where it's at now. 8 million bridges. 8 million views for an independent artist from Memphis who is still learning the music business represents a significant achievement and validation that is. Message and music resonated with a large audience hungry for authenticity. By releasing his music when the beef with Pooh Shiesty was already generating buzz and people were curious about his perspective, he capitalized on the moment without it seeming calculated or opportunistic. He was simply telling his truth at a time when people were ready to hear it. One of the most surprising developments in EBG Jizzle's career was getting the attention and support of legendary West Coast rapper Snoop Dogg. Man, he DM'd me on the ground one day like with you. He wanted me to come out there, get up with him. So we went, me and all my whole gang went out to LA, got up with him. And the fact that Snoop Dogg personally reached out, invited him to Los Angeles, and wanted to work with him gave Isel instant credibility and opened doors that would have otherwise remained closed. But fame doesn't erase history. It amplifies it. Every lyric, every disc, every rumor becomes part of the legend. In the end, this beef wasn't just about who won or who lost. It was about what Memphis creates and what it takes away. Two artists from the same soil, shaped by the same pain, turned that pain into power. One found himself behind bars. The other found himself blackballed. But through it all, they both left a mark that can't be erased. Because in Memphis, the line between music and survival has never been thin. It's invisible. And as long as that line keeps disappearing, the story of Pooh Shiesty and EBG Isel isn't over yet. If you enjoyed this video, click on the boxes playing on your screen to watch similar content.